triangles like this, and I'm not kidding. This is the shop. The shop is, yeah, the whole thing's like this. If you notice that planet over there, you probably... Guys, how you doing? So I decided to make this video after watching who knows how many videos now of people having issues with installation issues, or just trying to get this game put on, or whatever it is, you know. And so, because the current build is now 0.1867, I'm sure things have been updated and changed, so... But for the most part, the installation issues are kind of still there. So I just kind of wanted to do kind of a, you know, fresh install and kind of give you an idea of what actually happens and try to help you out here. So first off, you're obviously going to need, you know, to find the StarMade game. Go to www.star-made.org to be able to find the main page for StarMade. If you're up for buying the game, you know, you can click buy. That will take you, you know, to buy now. It's currently at $10. It used to be at a cheaper price, but as it slowly upgrades from alpha eventually into beta, the price is going to slowly rise as well. However, I would not recommend doing this unless you can make sure the game actually works. That was one of my initial problems when I first got the darn thing, is it didn't work. I'll explain why in a minute. This would be the predominant reason. Important notice, if you use an Intel graphic card, please update your drivers as older driver versions of Intel graphics have known bugs that can crash StarMade. I'll explain what that means later. Check off I read and agreed to terms and conditions. I would recommend reading this because they put certain particulars in there that are very important, particularly if you're doing things like running videos and whatnot, or making mods or whatever. Then pick your, you know, Linux, Mac, or Windows, click download. It'll do its usual thing of downloading, and then, you know, go ahead and run it or save it. I recommend saving it. Find a nice place to save the thing. What you're going to end up downloading, get rid of this. What you're going to end up downloading is you're going to end up downloading this, a StarMade starter. How you know it's the right one? Because it's capital S and capital M. This will actually unpack everything that you need within a single folder. So in a sense, StarMade actually comes in a really nice package. One folder has the entire game. It's really cool. Best thing you could probably do is create a new folder, such as this. Call it StarMade, call it whatever works for you. Stick this installer in here. If you actually click on this and run this, what you're going to end up finding out is you're going to actually have a folder on the desktop called StarMade, and your entire game is going to be on the desktop. If you don't want it on the desktop like it is here, I would recommend putting this particular icon in a particular directory, C, D, E, whatever directory you have. Just because what's going to end up happening when you do this, you're going to run it. We're going to wait a second. It's actually going to I actually have the game installed, I'll tell you that right now. And what it's actually going to do is just going to reinstall a brand new game, so each folder can actually be a dedicated game in itself, which is kind of convenient to some degree. You can actually make either multiple worlds, or you can make multiple game folders that have different games in it. You know, one for multiplayer, one for single player, whatnot. If you notice, when I first opened this up, this is the brand new launcher version 15. They've had multiple versions. Lots of people have, you know, wondered about things like what to do with this. This is predominantly, you know, for people who might be game testing, who might, you know, have the developer version, have a free version, archive version, whatnot. And so it just tells you where to put certain things in certain places. Don't worry about it. Memory settings, some people have, you know, more, some people have less. Best thing to do is not touch this thing, unless you're not sure what to do. Mirror setting, don't worry about it. Server port, people have this thing about 4242, don't worry about it yet unless you're doing a multiplayer thing. I'm going to show you single player just because that's where I'm heading with this thing. Download newest launchers. What you want to do if you want to launch, you know, update this launcher, I'll tell you right now, the version 15 as of today, I already have the newest version. Do I want to re-download it and overwrite my current launcher? No, I don't. Community gives you things that attach to the very community, just as the website that was seen earlier. Download problem, wiki, support chat. The wiki is very useful in terms of helping you, you know, figure things out. Anyway, so the thing's not here, so you have option to repair, update, and install latest version. Because there is no version, you want to actually install this one. It should install the 0.1867. However, it does sometimes install 0.166. Sorry, 1616. Let's see what happens. It's going to take a few minutes here. Because it's kind of big, the game's eventually just going to create its own folder, and then it's just going to slowly start to, fill this up as it kind of updates here. So it's going to be downloading all sorts of different files. It's just going to be, filling this folder up with the basic files that's needed to run the game. You're going to get more things, so if you're wondering where things are, like a blueprint, or where the data went to, whatnot, you're going to get more stuff as the game builds up. The game has an interesting feature, kind of like an auto-save feature. It's kind of odd. Because it's an alpha stage, there's no real save button per se. It actually auto-saves on the server, and so when you quit the game, it's already pre-saved. You can even close it off by hitting the X button. Your game will be saved. It's kind of annoying in the context of if you want to go back and fix stuff. I guess you can say there is a way to save the world, and that's helpful in the context of the game, and you can save the world, so to speak, and have a backup world that you can restore to and whatnot, and that's one way of doing it. And or you can kind of do another fresh install and do one thing in one world and another thing in another. This game does take a little while. It actually is 255 megabytes big, believe it or not, which is kind of small, but despite it looks like Minecraft. And it's about, resource heavy as Minecraft because it uses Java, and Java isn't the most, user-friendly when it comes to memory. It isn't the most user-friendly when it comes to, data. It isn't the most user-friendly when it comes to anything, frankly. And so, one of the first things you're going to find out when you try to, play this thing is you're going to probably get an error. Particularly if you have an Intel graphic card. If you have like what I have, where you have a dual graphic card, where you have an NVIDIA graphic card, and you have an Intel graphic card, you're going to end up with probably an error as well. Errors pretty much abound in this darn thing. And it takes quite a bit of fiddling with the settings, and best thing you could do is just start the game up, adjust one thing, close it down, start the game up again, adjust one thing, and just keep on doing that until you can kind of get something that's reasonable. It took me probably a while, I don't know, a few hours to actually get the game to where I think is reasonable. I'm sure it's going to crash on me. I've seen lag already on the game, and that's just not even doing anything, frankly. So I'm kind of expecting more and more things to happen as I, grow the game. But I'm hoping that I, make some adjustments, lower some things, and hopefully it works then. We'll see what happens when it gets there. Anyhow, so we're going to wait for this thing to install. Let me talk about the keyboard issue too. This game also, because it's an alpha stage, they're not done with, assigning stuff. So you're going to find the tutorial in the game is not the most complete tutorial in the world. StarMade developers made some nice tutorials, which works, and then there's other people out there that's made some nice tutorials, but they're a little bit haphazard because the game's an alpha, and so each person has a certain piece of tutorial that just seems to improve on certain areas. So like one person does a tutorial on power mode, another person does a tutorial on cloaking, another person does a tutorial on blocks, another person does a basic tutorial, and so on, but it's just kind of hard. And one thing, particularly if you're on a mobile device, what's really hard too is you can't really see the screen either. It's kind of like the game Starbound. When you're watching that on a mobile device, it's really hard to actually see the game because everything's so tiny. I guess, when you're recording stuff, you can probably make some adjustment, but when you do that, you actually impact your field of view. So you have a field of view that usually starts out at 85, and you can actually change that, and it actually, stretches the game a little bit. When you shrink it down, so everything kind of gets into almost a fishbowl kind of look. It's not very easy to play with when you're doing it that way. And then there's also the issue of lighting I've seen in videos. One of the issues I've seen with that is that this game has almost in a sense a procedural generated world, along with procedural generated universes, along with procedural generated orbits almost, and it's more like the sector in itself is rotating to create the orbit in itself. And so you have a star. The star puts out and emits light, and it hits a planet. It does what any star would do on any planet, and so you end up having a day and night cycle. Unfortunately, unlike Minecraft, where night cycle is much easier to see, This game, when you're in the dark, you're in the dark. And so it's okay when you're doing it yourself, you're playing yourself. It's not so much okay when you're trying to make a video and trying to show people videos. And so I've seen videos already where people are, say, salvaging materials, and they're salvaging stuff and you can't even see what they're doing. You can't even see what they're salvaging. And then when they do salvage stuff, they're pointing at what they're salvaging, so it's like, oh my god, what are they getting at? I don't even know what's going on here. And that's kind of been frustrating to kind of figure out what is what, because unlike Minecraft has dirt, it's dirt. Minecraft has, rocks, it's rocks. Minecraft has coal, Minecraft has iron. You can kind of figure this stuff out. In this game, the icons are, some ore that has a weird, unusual name and it has a weird color. There's ores and crystals, and what are ores, what are crystals, we all don't know, right? And so there's no real clear explanation of all of that. They're slowly coming around, with the various videos people are doing out there. It looks like I'm almost done. 200 out of 255. Anyhow, but it's been frustrating. The controls too are kind of frustrating because they want you to use the WASD keys, which for most people I'm sure that works. That's usually not how I like playing my game, with the walk, forward, back, whatnot. F usually has that little bump in it, so that way I can actually feel without looking on the keys. I know exactly where I am, and I can hit other buttons and then come back to the, I usually use E, D, S, F, so to speak, or E, S, D, F is what I usually use. And so I try to remap the controls, and because it's an alpha, it doesn't change any of the prompts either. And so what you end up with is all of the prompts aren't actually changed, and so I might be on ESDF and it tells me to push W to go forward, and it doesn't change that, and so it's confused the heck out of me. So I've kind of left the control. I restored. Actually had to there was no way to restart the controls, and so I had to reinstall the game just to fix it. It was kind of annoying. I hope they fix that one day and actually have a button that says reset to default. And so what I ended up doing was going online, finding a keyboard layout that had a double keyboard, found one, and I literally almost hand wrote everything in there so you actually can see what the keys are. I'll show you that at a little bit here, what that actually looks like, because it was just driving me nuts. So now I have a set of keys I can actually look at and go, oh, okay, there's this, and it saves me a little time of trying to figure out what button does what, because in this game it doesn't quite play like Minecraft. You hit certain things in Minecraft and you're kind of doing the opposite in this game. You can kind of remap things, but it does come some strange stuff. Oh goody, it's just finished. Yay. This says it's currently installed StarMade version 0.1867 build blah 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 blah. You already have the latest version. If it says this in your game, great. If it does not, you want to hit this button that says update and install latest version. What else is on here besides refresh news, options, and repair? Just so you know, you can actually change the version here. So you actually can switch, say, to version 16.16, and you can actually, change the version and roll it back to any of the older versions, from 1867 all the way back practically the version 16.16, which is like one of the earlier ones that they released here. Outside of the original developer build. I don't recommend going backward because they have features in there that, just don't work. There are bugs in there that they fixed so far, and they're still fixing stuff, and there are still bugs in there. For example, the tutorial, I'll show you that maybe later. You can, in a sense, re-download stuff. You can search for the newest, search for currently installed. You can force download everything and overwrite your entire game. Let's hope this doesn't do this right. Okay, good, perfect. If you do a force download all and overwrite, you can actually create a backup of your entire game, either the database or you can create a backup of everything. This is kind of a useful thing to do if you have to, update things or whatnot to create a backup, and it will create a backup and it goes in a folder. Oops. Oh dear, well, that's okay. It's reinstalling the game, how fun. I think I had no. Oh well. Well, it's going to re-download. I'm going to cut the video and get back to this once it finishes. But anywho, while it's re-downloading, what it's going to do is going to actually have a backup folder in here, where it will actually say backup, blah blah blah, and all you have to do is re-import that back in here when you're reinstalling your game. Wow, I can't believe I did that, but this is okay. Certain things in here, it's going to have basic blueprints. You can add to it in the game. You can also import it from other things. Data is in here. People have been asking, where in the world do you have your save games? I'm still trying to, in a sense, figuring that out, because it's not quite easier. It's not quite as easy as you think it is. And what I would like to do is be able to have, you know, an old save and a new save. Okay, I'm back now. It's finished installing finally. So this is the version that I just installed. It's the StarMade in the StarMade folder that's right back there. If you look here, this is the version that I've got installed already and I've played a little bit on. You see you've got like tons more stuff in here. The game actually works on an autosave feature principle, so it actually will constantly autosave, I don't know, maybe every few minutes or so. So it's just something to keep in mind. I can try this then later on and see how this works. Just, you know, taking this out of here, sticking it in this one, see what I open up with. I'll show you something in a few minutes. Get rid of this one, because I want to keep this one. So this is the game I just installed, right? Let me find the original folder I got. Oh, wait, it's already open. Never mind. So if you didn't make any changes and you just hit Start Game, you're going to end up with, you know, preparing file one-time operation. Going to do it for the very first time. Even though I've got a game already, it's going to pop up with this, and you need to put in the in-game name. I'm doing Koi, because that's who I am right now. Don't worry about this unless you're doing some multiplayer stuff. I'm not doing multiplayer right now. I'm just doing you know, general, you know, sandbox single player. It only has sandbox. It doesn't have a creative mode yet. As far as I know, I think they're coming later. Here's the place you can turn on the tutorial. AI difficulty, you can change the difficulty. Resolution for your screen. This screen here is quite big, ironically, so 1360 by 768 will actually create something that kind of looks like this, and it's actually a windowed screen versus it being a full screen. Ironically, turning on full screen will actually not turn on full screen. And so, believe it or not, I've got to actually bump it up to something, you know, like 1600 by 900 to actually get a full screen. Field of view is what I was talking about earlier. 85 is what they consider normal. You can actually bring your field of view to like 30 degrees almost, or you can go out to 110 degrees, which gives you a more wider range. But it all depends on how the video go. Max segments is more about your view distance. You can have your view distance be only, you know, 100, I assume 100 blocks away. You can have it being the standard 1500, or you can go all the way up to what looks like 20,000. You can turn on shadows, you can turn it off, you can put it at ultra, bare bone, simple, whatnot. Normal bump mapping you can turn on. Lighting quality, you know, you can bump it up to 256 if you like. And again, you want to change these things, you know, one by one. It actually has support for Oculus, which is very odd for an alpha game. I wouldn't have expected this to happen that early. Procedural background is referring to the background that you see in the game. So for example, this background here, if you change this, it'll just make it more sharper, more clearer, and more better looking. Texture pack, you can have default pixel realistic. I haven't actually seen anything realistically, you know, I just didn't do anything when I did it. Some people are having sound problems, so you can actually you can turn this off if you're having some of the sound problems I've heard about. Anyways, I wasn't. It seemed to be working fine for me. Invert mouse, invert ship mouse. Something about this logs into starmade.org. I'll come back to that one in a second. Modding has some areas for like loading your custom skin, creating your custom skin, having a block editor. Launch report tool basically launches a thing that says this, your email, what happened in the game, what were you doing, and please describe the problem and send them the issue so that way they can fix it hopefully in their next update. Oh darn, why did I do that? Okay, well since I did that, to launch the game you're going to actually want to just click this StarMade starter here. You can just create a shortcut like this. Drag that to, oh I already have one. Okay, let's not do that. Just click the shortcut, hit run, and off you go, and there you are. You're back to this again. Hit start game, and you're back to this again. Alpha, you gotta love alpha. Anyways, so open ship catalog manager gets into, you know, various things about the ship. You can export, import things in relation to ships. Star calculator. I'm not even going to go into that because I actually don't exactly know how this works. Migrate database for older versions. Reset all worlds is an important thing. If you have a world you just totally screwed up on, you just don't know what you did, you just want to start over, just hit this button. It will actually reset your entire database. All created worlds will be gone. You can back up and reset. Deleting without backup can't be done. Since I have my world over there, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually do it on that one. Let's see what happens. View index database, I guess doesn't work yet. StarMade remote tool, don't worry about that. Clear client cache, it's only if you've got your local. It actually resets the data saved locally from servers and refetched again on the next connect. So it's a way to kind of clear out your cache if you've kind of overdone your cache. Show advanced setting. Advanced setting has your resolution again. Anti-aliasing, if you know what that is. Bump it up to 8 if you want. Keep it down at off. They don't have an off, so they call it 0. You can turn on and off your bloom. You can listen to your bump mapping from earlier. This one I will explain once the game starts. I'll explain exactly kind of what starts to happen with this thing. Mouse wheel, you can change it either zoom or slots. Slots would be your, your hotbar down here, or your zoom, which is, zoom in and zoom out. Vertical sync, full screen, borderless windows, limit frame per second. If you do -1, you leave it at unlimited. You can do 60, 120, or 240. Max segments is the same thing from earlier. So what this does again is, how much of the game view distance are you putting into graphics memory? Occlusion culling, you can turn this off if you're seeing flickering or having startup crashes. I actually left this off. If you notice, it says it makes your game a little faster. Lighting quality also, you can increase this to increase the lighting quality. Simple dynamic lighting, you can turn this off if you want your game to be, better. You can turn it on if you want your game to be faster. High res background basically means you have a more detailed background. Tutorial, you'll see that in the game when it starts. Invert again. Window positioning, center or top left, it basically means is your game up here or is your game here. Enable background, if you turn this off, you're going to actually have a black background. If you turn it on, you're going to see this really awesome spacey background. Shield hit graphics. When you get hit by a weapon and you have shields on your ship, you're actually going to see the shield, flare up, and it's kind of cool. If you turn it off, you won't see it. Sound volume, you can turn it up to 10, you can turn it down to 3, whatever works best for you. There's the field of view again. Use frame buffer. From what I understand, this is connected to bloom lighting, but I actually don't know what it does. I haven't been able to find anyone who can explain what else it does. Shadows are, what you would think shadows are. I think it redid this because I turned it off. Atmosphere shader. You can have normal atmosphere. So in other words, it gives your planet an actual atmosphere. You can have kind of like a fallback atmosphere, or you can have no atmosphere. Array textures, I've heard, at least in this version 0.1867, that there's still some bugs with this, so they've left it off. Texture 2D compression, texture array compression, texture 2D mipmap, and texture array mipmap are all things that it's best to leave on. If you turn them off, it really slows down your game. Oh, gotta put my name in again. So I'm going to create a brand new game from this. Oh, World Manager. World Manager will actually give you, there's world 0. You can create a brand new world, such as my world, and you have a second world there. You can set as default whatever world you think should open. So I'm just going to do my world, see what happens here. So anyhow, let's get rid of this for a second, and we'll just go ahead and hit run, see what happens. StarMade starts to connect, and I'll show you one of the issues people are having. Error dialog exception. Unfortunately, your graphic card does not support the necessary function for shadows. Shadows will deactivate and continue. Sure thing. StarMade begin to load up. A lot of people begin to have problems when it reaches 100. This is one of the earlier problems that the Intel graphic card has, and no one really knows why they've coded it this way, but it just causes a problem. You get to 100, game crashes, and you're like, is the game still loading? Doesn't say anything. So you're going to find out when you go back here, you go back to the starter, you hit run, you end up with, oh, it didn't even do anything. Well, that's odd. It usually gives you a message. Oh wait, there it is, I think. Here it is. Okay, good. It gives you a JVM crash detected. A JVM crash has been detected. If you have already taken care of the problem, you can see alpha. Anyway, you can ignore this message and it won't show again. Otherwise, the crash is most likely caused by a graphic card driver error. I really can't do much myself to fix this kind of problem. What they're basically saying is they're coding the game. They can't change anything in the game per se to make your graphic card fit with Java. Updating your graphic card driver is the best change to solve this problem. Problem 99% on Intel cards. We have an Intel card. Please try blah blah blah. If it doesn't work, you can find and download driver manually. Blah blah blah. Now, before you even get to this far, there's something I would highly recommend you do. I found out the hard way that I had Java 6 for 32-bit and Java 7 for 64-bit. When I originally downloaded the update for Minecraft, apparently I learned Java doesn't update. It's very odd, and I would have thought it would have updated it. So you can just go, java.com, free Java download, agree and start free download, and it'll actually download the version 8 update 25. You really want recommended version 8 update 25. Install that on your computer. If you're not sure which version you have, you really want to try to have a 64-bit version. And it's important to try to get the 64-bit version. Where is it now? Just can't get me there. I don't know. It's gonna start download, I think. Yes, I don't want this download again. Oh well, it's re-downloading. Whatever. There it goes. It's already downloaded. It re-downloaded, shall I say. You want to also remove older versions of Java, so make sure you can find the older version. You want to find the 64-bit version of Java. Now, why can't I find the 64-bit? Oh, wait, here we go. Not the right operating system. See all of Java download. Click this. This is why I want to show you this, because it kind of got hung up on this issue. You want to find out if you have a 32-bit version for Windows or a 64-bit version for Windows. If your version is 32-bit, download this one. If it's 64-bit, download this one, right? If you have a Mac, download this version. You can find that obviously, by going to my computer and checking there. Where is my computer? Here we are. Going to my computer. That's not what I want. There it is. Going to my computer, going to properties, it'll tell you if you have a 64-bit operating system or if you have a 32-bit operating system. That's rather important. Then that way you can get the right Java. If you download 64-bit, install it, and then, remove the older version of Java. That way you have your Java updated. Once you have Java updated, you're still going to get this JVM crash. The way to get rid of the JVM crash, it actually, particularly if you have NVIDIA, and it really helps, or if you have another graphic card, go to your graphic card control panel, like this, add in, a file, find Java, right? Find Java, find this thing that says java w.exe, add that in, and then instead of using global setting, auto select, if you notice, is that integrated graphics, which is the Intel graphics. You want to select high performance NVIDIA processor, at least for mine. If you have AMD, select the AMD one. Don't select Intel. When you do this, your game will actually start. Get rid of that. Don't need it anymore. Your game will actually start. Let's just restart this game, just to make sure it starts up right. Okay, good. Now, let me show you something about this button. Sometimes, and mine did this originally, sometimes this is turned off. If this is turned off, you're going to end up with triangles. Okay? Check this out. It's going to start for the very first time, so you're going to actually see the triangle show up. If you're wondering why it gets cut off here, it's because I've actually got the screen about half the size, so that way got some stuff over here I can bring over back and forth. There's just a few things I've got over there that I need to keep there, so I can show you some stuff. Ah, there it is. So I spawn for the very first time. I'm going to skip the tutorial for a second, because I just want to show you what this issue is. This is what you're going to end up getting. If you have that VBO turned off, you're going to actually have a bunch of triangles like this, and I'm not kidding. This is the shop. The shop is, yeah, the whole thing's like this. If you notice that planet over there, you probably can't see it too well. Actually, that's not a planet, that's an asteroid. I'm in a bad position. My other game has an asteroid right next to me. I'm just going to do this real quick. I'll explain this all later. Oh, I don't have it. There it is. I was wondering what's going on. Even the ship here is missing some texturing. I'm just going to jump in real quick. I'm going to take you over to the planet. You can't even see. Oh my gosh, that's just what is going on here. Wow. Anyway, so you can't even play the game when it looks like this. And the whole there it is. Good. That whole VBO issue is just kills the game. Right? It has some issue with texturing, and what it does is essentially saves some of the texturing into the memory buffer of the game, which jump out of the ship. Bye ship. Anyway, so it just kills the game horribly. So what you gotta do is you actually have to quit the game. There's no setting in the game to actually fix that. You have to rerun the game. You have to restart your game. And eventually, you're going to get to the point where you can actually go to advanced settings and you can turn the thing on. Some people have had success, with putting this number down to 1. Some people have had success with, bumping it all the way up to 256. I left it at default, which is 4 megabytes, and just left it there, and it actually runs fine. When you do 4 megabytes, oh, you know what? It actually did that, didn't it? I'm just noticing. Let's see if we can back up our data real quick. Reset all worlds. Back up and reset. So it reset the world, so I'm actually not going to end up in that same place I just did. Connecting again. Logging as me. Determining what's going on in the game. After this, I won't do this, half screen here. I'm going to switch over to something else. Once it starts up, I'll show you. In just a second here. Okay, here we are. Spawn again. Explain all this at another point. I just want to be able to show you. Oh, that's odd. Really looks like the same place, huh? Oh no, it's different. Okay, anyway, so you can see it actually, created the world and it actually made it look like, like the way it's supposed to be. Everything's actually textured the way it's supposed to be, and if you actually had a ship and you put a brand new ship down, your ship isn't weird, you enter your ship, you can actually see what's going on in your ship, you can fly, you can actually do stuff in this game, and you can actually see your asteroids, planets, whatnot, like the way it's supposed to be. So anyhow, I'm going to quit this game. Let me show you this. You're actually going to want to check this out here. It says starmade.net/threads/help-with-game-settings.1328/. This actually had a person asking a really good question about the game settings. This is where I was able to find out what in the world the game settings even meant. This guy here, Kupu, I guess, don't know who he is, but he's an awesome guy apparently, because he explained like literally all of the issues here, and he even gave you, what MIP mapping looks like. He talks about, what higher visual quality, lower visual quality is, and and people ask a bunch of questions after that. So you can see field of view, resolution, max segment, shadows, normal mapping, procedural background, texture pack, advanced option, anti-aliasing, bloom, VBO, vertex buffer object is what it's called, and this is bulk VBO, which is how much gets stored in your virtual RAM. Vertical sync, max segment, high res background, window positioning, enable background, enable shield, hit graphics, frame buffer, atmosphere shader, texture 2D compression, texture 2D MIP map, and texture array, as he said last time he checked. And this was, when did he post this message? This was around June 6th. It's currently January, so of 2015. So yeah, this is very helpful. Let me also show you what I did with the keyboard. This is what I did with the keyboard. I actually colored all of this in, printed it out, so I actually have a keyboard right there in front of me, because you're going to find the controls is just insanely annoying. So you're welcome to, copy this off and print it off and make it work for you somehow. Or you can do the same thing what I did with just labeling everything here. So I'm going to end this video now. I have no idea how long this video has kind of gone on for, so I'm going to, oops, there it is. I'm actually going to end video here. And then hopefully in the next one I'll get into the weird tutorial they've currently got on there, and then we'll kind of start from there. That way we can figure out how to play this game. Okay, thank you and have a great day.